Eccoci qua, benvenuti, bentornati signori. Buonasera, buonasera, buonasera. Manca pochissimo. Tra l'altro vediamo se si vede correttamente. Buonasera Musa, grazie mille. Grazie, grazie mille. Eccoci, ci dovremmo essere. Si dovrebbe anche vedere dignitosamente tutto. Ci siamo, tra 1 minuto e 40 ci guardiamo la nuova anteprima di Dune. Vediamo di sistemare un attimino anche qui, esatto. Ok, così mi pare che sia anche meglio. Vediamo se tagliamo un po' qua e abbassiamo un po'. No, così dovrebbe andare. Dov'è? Trasforma, eccolo qua. Centra orizzontalmente e ci dovremmo essere. Allora signori, togliamo subito l'audio che c'è di qua. Almeno ci ritroviamo fra 1 minuto con la live. Va tutto bene, anzi sono abbastanza tranquillo. Vediamo se su Discord c'è qualcuno. Tra l'altro mi devo pure smutare, se no col cazzo che mi sentono. Almeno così ci lasciamo liberi un po' tutti quanti. Dobbiamo segnare che è partita l'evento. Dov'è l'evento? Eccolo qua, avvia. Opla. E si vola. 20 secondi. 20 secondi. Come va Musa? Tutto bene? Tutto a posto? Ok, allora qua ci dovremmo essere. Zoomiamo anche qua. Ce lo ingrandiamo anche su Twitch, che tanto male non fa. Ed ecco qua. Signori. Perché non c'è la musica? Ah, ma non c'è la musichetta? Aspetta. Ce la mettiamo su YouTube allora. Dune Awakening. Yeah. Sono mutati, signori, sono mutati loro. E niente. Nuovo audio, signori, bellissimo. Incominciamo bene con i ragazzi di Dune che sono mutati. Si stanno rendendo conto che sono mutati. Esatto, bravi. Direi che si inizia alla perfezione. No, 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 no. No, ma è proprio mutata la live, signori. Aspetta, vediamo. Ecco qua. Almeno così ci guardiamo che cos'è che dicono. Molto bella come situazione.
Without hiccups.
Oh,
Apologies
grazie.
for that, everyone. Again, hello, welcome, hi to our second Dune Awakening live stream.
Grazie,
here
grazie.
Out of our Oslo offices. Again, hiccups happen. I'm still here. We are still here. I hope everyone is still watching. But anyway, we have a lot to go through. I hope you are well hydrated and you're sitting comfortably. Before we go over the segment and what's coming up, some information for those of you who might have missed it. We have moved the release date for Dune Awakening from the 20th of May to the 10th of June, with a head start on the 5th of June.
Esatto, sappiamo che è stata posticipata, signore, di un mese. Grazie mille. Grazie mille, Musa.
Wanted to work on a few things a little bit longer, and hopefully it makes for a better gameplay experience for everyone as well. And more importantly, it gives us the time to do a non-NDA beta weekend on a large scale where you can be streaming, you will be able to talk about the game, you will make videos. Hopefully that is exciting to you. So that was one of the reasons as well. But what are we going to talk about today? So the segments. Combat. We will be talking
esatto, vogliamo vedere informazioni sul combat. Necessito di sapere un po' di roba sul combat.
and group combat.
C'è.
We might even show some PvP, who knows? And then we will also have a segment about server structure, because we know a lot of you were kind of concerned, or some of you were
Voglio
concerned about
saperne di più.
Headstart and how it will be working, playing with your friends, playing with guilds and groups and such. So we go over that as well. And then towards the end, we'll also have a Q&A.
Queste sono informazioni golose. Ci toccherà guardare, scopriremo anche cose per quanto riguarda server e le gilde. Via, si vola. Vediamo un po' cosa ci offrono quest'oggi.
Awaken. The desert wants you dead, off-worlder. If the sands don't take you, the storms will swallow you whole. But you don't have to walk this path alone. In every danger, there is opportunity. The foundation of something greater. A power waiting to be harnessed. Desert power. Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore. To fight for. To conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control.
Ah, l'hanno già modificato. Vi ricordo il 10 giugno, non più. Fra un mesetto circa. Ma ci toccherà aspettare 2 mesetti.
Master Arrakis. And it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Un peccato però. Un peccato che l'abbiano posticipato. Mi è dispiaciuto. 2 mesi. Sì, 2 mesi scarsi più o meno. Vediamo cosa... anzi, vediamo con cosa ci delizieranno.
Welcome back. So, combat, we have seen your comments, your feedback on combat and what we have shown so far. So obviously we want to show you more. And to talk about
vogliamo
combat,
vedere
I
di più.
have 2 guests
Forza.
with me now, 2 very interesting guests, and they really know what they're talking about. For one, I have Viljar here, game director on Dune Awakening. Viljar, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi.
Oddio, perché ha una tastiera e un mouse?
5 years, game director. Other projects I've worked on.
Ci faranno vedere qualcosa live?
25 years ago, working on Anarchy Online. I've also worked here at.
Tra l'altro mi sa che il microfono suo non è
I
attivo.
did some travel in between. I worked on the Syndicate shooter. I worked on Hitman Absolution and Mirror's Edge Catalyst, to mention a few games.
So a lot of things that are very relevant as well to especially this section and combat in Dune Awakening too. And then also, last but not least, we have Alex, lead combat designer. Alex, you want to introduce yourself?
Expert designer Alex e
lead combat
Villager
designer on
senior game
Dune Awakening.
director.
With Funcom, I've been for like 16 years now, with the last big project being.
Meglio dire rimandano se non sono pronti.
That's kind of crazy.
Non hanno
That's crazy. I
dato
love that.
informazioni
I remember doing Conex streams with you back in the days as well.
in più.
Super
È un
fun.
peccato.
Yes, good times. Anyway, now we're actually talking about combat in Dune Awakening though. And
Davvero un
to talk
peccato.
about combats, we also have to talk about the vision of our combat in Dune Awakening, which is we kind of want to raise the bar when it comes to combat in open world survival games specifically. But what does that actually mean, Viljar?
Yeah, so when we set out, we wanted to make the best combat experience in the survival game genre. Combat in Dune Awakening is about the interplay between ranged, melee, and abilities. It is responsive and reactive. It is about positioning and movement. Quick in, quick out. Players focused on range.
Vabbè, non sto dicendo niente di particolare per ora.
Opportunity to succeed, but everyone will need to use abilities. Now, playing optimally means switching playstyle depending on the situation. Use ranged weapons as someone approaches, then quickly switch to melee as they get near.
Vabbè, abbiamo diverse possibilità di approccio tra melee e ranged, questo lo sappiamo.
Yeah, that's correct. So we are less about the perfectly timed button press, but more about the overall tactic, like reading the combat environment. So we looked more to action games than traditional survival games when it came to building our combat. So we are not going for a Souls-like approach to combat.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important to mention as well, like actiony but not Souls-like. And in that context, I think it's also very important to mention that the combat has to work both in a solo and in a group gameplay. Group gameplay. That's a difficult thing.
No, non è tanto difficoltoso, però va bene.
Group gameplay setting.
Va bene, vai avanti.
Thank you, brain.
Prego.
There we go.
Vai.
Not hiccup.
Yeah, so we need to support solo and group play, as you said. So as a solo player, you really should try to separate enemies from the group. So try to approach it with a divide and conquer mentality. Abilities provide great opportunities for this approach, basically. So you can command a single NPC to come to you, or you can use a gravity grenade to keep the enemies behind them at bay, or even use a shield wall.
Si è preso degli appunti, tra l'altro. Vabbè.
Cover to actually put it in place of someone who approaches you, and then it will slow them down, giving you more react to come up with your tactics to deal with them. And sometimes it's okay to bravely run away. You can disengage with the Shigowari Claw or even a knee charge, which can be seen as combat tools, but also as good tools to get away from combat when you need to. And yes, on the co-op side, playing with friends is easier, but you still need to be careful and not pull everyone at the same time. Like the paradigm that we worked with is 1 enemy is fine, 2 will provide a challenge, and 3 should be hard. So if you go beyond that, you kind of brought it on.
Quello che stanno dicendo praticamente sarà molto facile giocare in coop, invece scontrarsi con 2-3 persone potrebbe essere un po' più complesso. Buonasera Chris. Buonasera.
Mamma mia, Marcello!
Grazie mille Siriocop, non so più parlare.
How you want to play outside of combat too, but more importantly, it really also goes into kind of customizing your own combat and your playstyle, right?
Yes, that's correct. So one of our pillars is expression and customization, and this is something that we follow throughout everything that we do in the game. So it's not just about making your character look the way that you want, but it's also developing the combat style that you want. You can, of course, fully commit to an archetype to play out a specific Dune fantasy, but you can also pick from all the skill trees.
Sappiamo che ci sono diversi archetipi con i diversi alberi per le skills, e questo lo sappiamo già, soprattutto per chi è dentro al gruppo di Dune, di Discord, l'Italia.
Quite a few ranged weapon in examples of combat videos that we've shown, but can you tell us a little bit more about ranged combat in specific?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of ranged weapons in our game, and luckily the Dune lore actually supports this. It's mentioned many times in the Dune books. However, our approach with the mechanics and everything is that they're spring-loaded and mechanical. So we use dodge instead of bullets, which give them kind of a different feel to what you use from other games. I'll mention a few examples, like we have something called the drill shot. This will fire burrow darts. It will hit a shield and burrow through. And if you don't do a dash to counter that, it will go through the shield and damage you directly. But as I mentioned, you can do a dash, assuming you have the stamina, and then they will fall to the ground. So you have to be aware of these things and use dash and stamina elegantly and with purpose. We also have weapons, ranged weapons that you might
Abbiamo
see
quindi
are similar to other games. For instance, we have something called the Karpov, which is an assault rifle.
Abbiamo quindi la difficoltà comunque di tenere sotto controllo anche la stamina durante la parte di combattimenti.
SMG, right? That's specific to the gameplay as well. That's kind of important too.
Yes, of course. So we have the disruptor, which is very effective at taking down a shield. So if you see someone coming towards you with a shield on, quickly switch it to your disruptor. Try to take down the shield and take them out before they get close to you.
Right. And when we talk about shields,
E c'è anche tutta la parte di gestione dello scudo da buttare giù e da tenere in considerazione.
Which we know that's one of the topics that a lot of people have talked about because we haven't really shown that or explained it that much in showcases or videos specifically. So let's talk about shields and melee.
Yeah, so on the melee side we have swords, we have rapiers.
Adesso parliamo della gestione dello shield e lato melee.
Swords deal damage in an area, but they are kind of slow. You do a swing, but it's kind of slow compared to the Kinjal, which is very fast, but only focuses on one enemy at a time. So even there, you can play as you like. And of course, our shields, they work a little different from what you're used to in other games, I think. Our shields actually go down when you shoot, which makes you vulnerable. So you go into an encounter and start shooting, and suddenly you wonder why you take a lot of damage. Your shield went down. Now, this can be used, this also works the other way. So if you go against an enemy, if you time it right, you see them start firing, and then you dodge out of the way, and then you start damaging them. So it's about looking for windows of opportunity while dodging out of the way from damage.
Ci sta parlando quindi del fatto che lo scudo può andare, deve andare giù durante gli attacchi melee.
However, you're still vulnerable to the slow blade attack. This is a special attack where if you're fighting against a shielded enemy, with a little bit of extra effort, you can actually press through their shield to deal damage through their shield. So you're never completely safe. And the last thing I'll mention on this is that you can be staggered by various attacks.
Durante l'attacco del melee comunque lo shield è da tenere in considerazione, non per forza negli attacchi di melee quando si vanno ad attaccare non si tiene in considerazione lo scudo.
Sometimes as long as you have stamina, right?
Exactly.
And if you talk shields and weapons, we have to mention the last guns too, of course.
Right, the last guns. So the way that the last guns work in lore is that if you fire a last gun at a shield, you get an atomic explosion. And fun as that may seem in the short term, we deemed it impractical. So
I like that it's like we deemed it impractical. So it's like have like nuclear explosions all over the map
We had it
constantly.
working, but we figured it out that it's probably not for the best for the greater good of the game.
Probably not. Yeah, it would be hilarious maybe for a day or so. but
Forse
then
questo l'avevano già parlato comunque di questa
exactly. So the way we did it is that
di quest'arma
the Emperor
atomica
decreed that any last gun
che non funzionerà in
produced
Dune
or crafted
Awakening.
on Arrakis will have a safety. So basically, if you try to fire a last gun at someone who's shielded, the last gun just will refuse to fire.
Right.
So that's how we dealt with that.
As a kind of a elegant solution to the whole problem. Also, if we talk Holtzman tech, which the shield is of course a Holtzman tech, we have more Holtzman tech in the game, of course.
Yeah, so you have the Holtzman, the suspensor belts, and these are really good
Toglio,
for
scusatemi, sto a vedere una roba.
combat. So you can use them during combat to get out of trouble, or you can use it to descend upon your enemy. It's not an ability per se, but it's one aspect of the game which supports other abilities and how you use them.
I love them. They're really fun, and there's like different types of them too. Like hover, you can control it like more up and down and vertically, or just fall damage and things like that.
Yeah.
You briefly also mentioned the Dune fantasy earlier on, and of course, if you talk about that, we have archetype, like we call them in the game, that are very much going into this Dune fantasy of like we have characters that people might know from the books or
Vogliono
the
forse
movies,
parlare
like
degli
Duncan
archetipi?
Idaho, Swordmaster, for example. And for example, we also talked melee. We do actually have a Swordmaster archetype in the game.
Vai, vediamo.
Right?
Yeah, so we have the Swordmaster. They're of course melee focused. So some of the abilities that they have are deflection, where they can actually run towards an enemy who's firing darts at them and deflect those darts and don't take damage. They have the knee charge, which is very practical when you want to knee kick someone. But again, you can also use it for traversal to get away or get into the action if you want. And then they also have something called the Eye of the Storm, which is a whirlwind that will attack everything that they hit it will damage everything they hit around them. And I want to mention this specifically for the beta players, because we've actually reworked how this whirlwind attack works. So the next version that you'll play will be much cooler.
There we go. A little bit of a nugget for the beta players. Thank
Ma
you
vogliamo
for
vedere?
feedback, by the way, it's very valuable.
Ma vogliamo vedere robe più succose?
Also, I am very much a sword master at heart. I also like retaliate, for example, which is a super cool skill, but we don't go into detail about that. You can try that out soon, hopefully yourself. But if we talk about archetype, some of you might have started watching the show or watching the show, the Bene Gesserit TV show that's now available. I think it's on HBO. If I remember. Don't count me on it. Maybe I think I'm right. But we also have a Bene Gesserit archetype tree as well, right?
Yes, we do have the Bene Gesserit, and they're all about voice powers and supreme muscle control. So they have abilities like the Bindu Sprint, where they can run at incredible speed, run into combat or run away from combat. They have the Compel, which is where they can command someone to get to them and incapacitate them for a bit until you and actually give you time to damage them before they regain control over their limbs. And they also have the Weeding Step, which is a very cool ability where they can move superhumanly fast behind someone and then attack from the back.
So these are, of course, only two of the archetype trees that we mentioned, but it's kind of surprising as well because, or not surprising, because those are my favorite ones. I go with them a lot, and I love combining the Swordmaster and the Bene Gesserit trees because they just work so well together, especially also if you like melee. But we'll see more on that a little later in the combat segment. If we talk about the Dune universe, of course, we need to talk about spice. Spice is important in the game for pretty much everything. It influences politics, it influences economics, it influences your character in all different kind of interesting and special ways, and it also influences combat.
Yeah, so that's true.
Quindi gli archetipi ci possono andare ad influenzare diversi aspetti, hanno diversi anche moveset, diverse tipologie di logica. Logiche sia commerciali, economiche, che di politica.
In the game you start with two abilities, and then when you play the story you will unlock a third ability at the same time as you unlock the spice prescience feature. So this is a very cool, very powerful mode to be in.
Vi ho visto già anche l'altra volta che per sbloccare le varie attività è necessario andare a trovare i vari NPC.
From range, from melee, you'll even become immune to poison. And additionally, it will actually trigger what we call capstone skills. So these are special passive skills that you invested in the various skill trees that we have. And they will only be active when you're in this special mode. So a few examples there are the shield overcharge, where you can actually see vulnerabilities in others' shield, and you can focus on those vulnerabilities and take down their shields faster. We have the Bindu dodge, where it appears as if dodge and blade attacks pass through you. Your health will regenerate at an accelerated pace as well. But what's really helpful to get an eye to understand the battlefield is it will highlight enemies. You will see their health, their weapons, their ammunition, and also the type of NPC that you will be dealing with. And it lasts for quite some time as well.
Sarà abbastanza complesso proprio durante i combattimenti in giro tenere in considerazione tanti più fattori normali, che possono essere il carburante, le munizioni, l'acqua, l'idratazione.
That was a lot of information, a lot of talk, and we're actually now going to show you how that actually looks in gameplay. We'll have Alex here.
Hopefully.
Play like a pro, like the pro he is.
Vedremo proprio una sessione di gameplay.
No pressure, Alex. Yes.
So let's see where we go to.
Scusatemi, mi sa che mi sono messo proprio sopra a me.
In a location of our choosing to showcase the combinations of experiences that our players will be able to have. Combat is a dance of multiple things, and we have a wide selection of very interesting toys that we'll demo here, so that our viewers can see and experience.
So this will be solo combat first, right? Just to make that clear.
Ooh, we're actually low on water. I forgot to solve that problem beforehand. And we're standing in the sunlight.
See, that's
Aspetta che
why
ve la
you should
sistemo un
always be
attimo.
prepared if you go
Right,
out. Make sure
absolutely.
you have enough
We
water.
will
Make
not
sure you
cheat to fix this problem.
enough
We will
energy.
suffer the consequences
because we can cheat.
we will find water in the location that we go to. As you see here, we've begun to be
Ecco qua.
dehydrated. But
Yes.
It's very much worth mentioning that you'll be having fewer dashes because you're low on hydration.
Your stamina actually gets
Exactly.
limited.
Reduced, yeah.
If you can see where the pips are on the bottom left of the screen above the hydration icon, every time you cross that threshold, you're given a bonus to your stamina. Right now, because we're below both of the thresholds, we do not have that bonus. It's a missed statistical opportunity.
And your health goes down as well.
And the
over
health is
time.
going to be ticking down. We have a challenge. We'll overcome the challenge. I promise.
And on the same time, you're also sunstroke.
I'm also sunstroke, yes.
Yeah.
Everything that's going
Questo
to
qua praticamente è la versione che stiamo
Absolutely.
che stanno giocando i beta tester in questo momento.
Go for it.
So, first, I'm going to talk about the tools that we're bringing, and then I'm going to touch on the skills that we have equipped for this character. This character specifically going to be for my playstyle. Let's talk about first the equipment. We have a selection of items: healing, melee, disruptor, rifle, scattergun. These all have their uses. I will use them.
Abbiamo quindi un'arma.
This is light armor. This is more
Oddio.
focused around dashing and dodging.
Un'arma melee e 3 armi
Protective against melee attacks. We have our
ranged.
battery pack that fuels our primary, two of our primary resources, which is technically they're both pulled from the same pool, the energy pool, which Holtzman shields use, and this is the Holtzman shield, and Holtzman suspensor use also. Now we'll quickly show this before we go anywhere.
Abbiamo anche quindi la parte di energia per rigenerare eventuali energie e anche la parte dello scudo.
The unique narrative of Dune forces projectiles to have to put down a shield for them to leave it. We must time our gameplay around this mechanic. Then, suspensors. The one I chose is the one I personally prefer the most. It is energy efficient, it doesn't give me vertical velocity, but it allows me to float.
Ah, c'è anche la possibilità quindi di flottare, come si dice?
Maybe I will have to cheat to solve this water problem. This is becoming poignant.
Sì, di andare in floating. Non so come dirlo in italiano. Fluttuare, giusto, fluttuare.
And pop the bubble. There we go. Right. So here we have lost our shield. We have lost the perfect barrier because it is tied to the resource pool. Because we're floating, it will regenerate and it will re-engage.
Allora, fatemi un attimo anche
Now,
voi. Sistemo un
in terms of
attimo
skills, let's have a quick
qua
look.
e qua.
The camera overlay is hiding a couple of buttons, but I'll pretend I know where they are and click through them. So here we see our 5 archetypes, and my choice of skills.
Stiamo anche un attimo
for
qua
me
perché lo
personally,
voglio
because the setup that we
ingrandire.
play, which is away from the TV a little bit, on remote hardware. So if I miss, it's not
Così
my
lo
fault,
vediamo
it's
un po'
the
tutti
hardware's
meglio.
fault. I'm getting that out of the way now.
No gaming chair either.
No,
so
no,
it's
no.
Vabbè.
Knee charge, compel, and assault seeker. In terms of my techniques, which are actions that function passively, I can't read them without glasses. Oh my goodness! Right, that believe it says center of mass.
Ok.
We have energy conservation to give me more juice so that I can fight for longer, float for longer, shield for longer, and death from above to give me benefits to my damage output while I'm floating. With that said, let's do this actually. Let's do a little bit cheating so that people don't see the magic hands while we're fixing the character.
the water consumption.
The water consumption. The thing that our support crew don't
I'm gonna
realize
do
is that I
some-
need
I'm
to see
gonna
the
do
other
some
monitor
water
so that I can fix it as
well,
well.
actually, just
Fantastic.
to-
I'm gonna look this way to fix it. Magic button there.
Just so we are like aligned with
It's just
our character
completely
too.
fair. There's no problems at all. This is just magic that happens.
Do you need
People
some water as
Buffy-
well? Are you
No, I'm
okay?
good. It's
Okay.
fine. So the character's fixed,
Nice.
hydrated, cheating
Perfect.
concluded.
Mamma mia,
See, we have a blue bar.
che cosa orribile che hanno fatto.
Perfectly planned, perfectly prepared. Nothing happened.
It was all planned
It was
anyway
all
from the
planned.
get-go, so we
And you can
just
see that even though we're cheating, the health doesn't go up
Exactly.
immediately. You will have
Because-
to regenerate health.
Because we are hydrated, we are regaining our maximum lost life.
Exactly.
Right. So what we're going to give it a
Ah,
we're gonna give it a second
rigenerando,
so that we don't completely get
bevendo,
distracted.
va ad aumentare
We can
piano
also talk
piano
about the fact that you are actually
il
wearing a
massimo
helmet
della
so that you can
vita.
actually hide the helmet. I
Il
think
punto massimo della vita.
you can. I mean, it's not combat related, but I think a lot of
Where is
people
that
are
button, if you
actually
guys remember?
press D. You can press D,
Press the D key.
and there you go. So
There
you have a
it
toggle
is.
here, so you can actually toggle your helmet on and off, and that works with
I
all
like
armor.
helmetless in this case. Much
Me
better.
too. Like a lot of players, like just have like, I don't want to
Let's get
see.
out of
I want to
this.
see the beautiful face I made during the character creation.
Okay.
Right?
I believe.
You can
Unless you
survive.
guys-
You can survive the first encounter. That's just
I hope so.
outside.
And we have DB&O mechanics that will allow me to stand back up again. Let's experience.
You're
Well,
also,
if you don't, you
and
have
you're
an
also
excuse.
being dehydrated by the sun again.
Still, right. Let's get into let's get into the shadows. I will. The location we're going to is an ecolab. It's
Scende
to the
anche abbastanza in
forward
fretta,
left.
l'acqua,
We'll rotate
l'idratazione.
counterclockwise and hit the entrance. I've been in this ecolab a couple times, so I have relatively good memory of where the NPCs are. But if I make a mistake, it's not my fault. It's the hardware's fault. We shall begin.
Taking a bold approach here.
This is not. I hit every bullet. It's absolutely not me. We'll reheal, and because we're shielded.
Ah, e adesso si sta anche
Let's
refullando.
get into it. Let's
La vita.
push this. Let's pick up the tempo. I'm gonna go here, rotate left,
Vuole andare di melee.
compel core. Thank you. We dispatch him easily. We're relatively safe here. This character is by himself. His mate was dispatched. We're shielded. We're in shadow, and we're inside. This is the entrance of our ecolab location. I used compel there as one of my skills. In the very beginning of the game, we do not have access, like Vilja said, to all three skills. You must experience a certain narrative event before they come online.
Yeah.
At that
You
point,
probably have gotten it at this point in the game
yes.
because it's like 10 hours in or something.
Do you remember which tier we're in right now?
Steel.
Steel tier?
Well, this one is steel tier, but it's placed in Iron tier area.
Right, it's the challenging ecolab.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites because it is quite long. It has very interesting disposition of rooms, and it forces you to really, really work, especially for the tier that it's in. So we're gonna make our way down the hall. Actually, no, we'll save that for later. I was thinking about activating the precedent state, but I think we'll save that for later. So let's see. We have two characters here. They don't know we're here. We will. No, we won't do that. We'll just open up with the scattergun. Oh no, okay, that was my mistake.
You
Shield
could
back
though.
on.
Che il pompa fa abbastanza danni.
This is one of the things that is not often evident because if you crouch your character, you do not generate audio movement events. What that means is that if you can predict which way NPCs will move, you can get much closer to them to do what I essentially did here. which
Abbiamo
is
anche la
get the
gestione
scattergun
del
in a much
suono.
closer position.
La parte
So
del
this gun
combat,
obviously is better
buono.
at close range because it scatters. a
Quindi
lot
se
of
ci
bullets.
avviciniamo, diciamo,
We will
accucciati,
push through. Let's have a look.
abbiamo meno probabilità di far girare. Esatto.
Because the scattergun is basically like your shotgun approach in other
Yeah.
games.
The other interesting element here is that, as Vilja said prior, we don't only. Ooh, I missed.
Oh, that was a
that's
nice-
interesting.
nice dodge
Let's
from the
not.
NPC.
Let's not. Oh, but I'm shielded. He's not going to do anything. It's okay. We're fine. We're overpowered. One of the things that Vilja mentioned before is that because of the setting, because of the Holzman technology, and because of how we need to value, there has to be value to attacking something, but not really taking its hit points away, which is where staggers and the stagger mechanics really come in. For example, with the scattergun is one of the best tools you have to force a stagger at short range, not melee range, but at short range, to a target that you manage to land all of your darts on. So we're going to continue advancing, explore this space. Shall we activate the special?
Just wait till you get
energy?
in a little bit of trouble.
Let's get a bit of trouble. So, kind of along the corridor, I will zoom in with my magical Mark 1 eyeball to try to spot the baddies as we advance ever so slowly. No. There we
Ah.
go. Right.
Puoi anche switchare
Sì,
l'inquadratura.
proceed
Bellino.
to compel, tactically withdraw.
He didn't.
Heroically running away.
Oof. Okay, I need to. This is the other element. We need to disposition them.
Oh,
Oh, he didn't get through. Oh, there's dodging. Please push through. Nice. I need to. I have my abilities.
So we see it's very much about positioning and tactical
One,
combat.
2,
Yeah.
3. He staggered, push through, push through, push through. Nice.
And as you saw, the NPC was actually doing a knee charge against you because they have the same abilities as we do.
Non sembrano nemmeno estremamente malvagi comunque gli NPC, non sembrano molto
He was
ignoranti.
Yes, nice.
Successfully.
Riescono a fare comunque dei dodge più o
Actually,
meno
NPCs maybe
interessanti.
be a little bit more clever with when they reload versus shielded characters. That's a future team conversation.
Potrebbero fare di
Maybe you
più?
can at least imbibe
Probabilmente
some
sarà
spirit
tipo
from
a
ready for
livelli.
it.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's take
Più si va
that
avanti
before we
in
go
situazioni
further.
più critiche,
One.
più si
Now push
troveranno
that bar.
situazioni
We have to wait a few ticks
da
for it to get
affrontare.
in. We're not going to trigger it yet. We're going to wait for the go signal before we get spicy.
Also, you can do that via
Ha
food
consumato
or
un
drinks, but
medikit, tra
also
l'altro
sometimes it kind of goes up organically.
estremamente
I mean, if you go to a
lento.
spice field, you will inhale spice
Yes.
directly.
And you can also see the particles in the air. You actually see it. That's very interesting. Super.
Inhale.
Ho usato l'abilità, adesso va di melee.
Follow through. We'll keep eyes out for the other characters here.
Oh, finish him.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's gonna come.
Oh, I
No.
didn't press keyboard fault, not my fault. I actually tried to dodge, or technically dash.
Probabilmente una
Push,
gestione
shield. Nice.
You saw the
Una
shotgun
gestione
there
più
stabbing the
veloce
enemy and
del
then follow
combat.
through with the blade.
My objective
è carina.
there
Adesso
was
qua
to
ha un
read the
tavolino
telegraph
piccolino,
in the
ci
knee charge
mancherebbe.
and move tactically to the side. I had failed. I pressed the wrong button, but it's okay. Success was still had. Right, and here, because we're in an eco lab, it is actually not the easiest place. Should we activate our power here?
Sure.
Let's
Go
do
for
it.
it.
So, we're entering the prescient state. As Vilja said prior, we
Che sta
have
facendo?
increased output of damage, we have reduced cooldowns on our abilities, and more importantly, we have information. And information is ammunition that we can use to
Ah, può vedere
Yeah,
per
you
esempio
have to
tutte
actually
le
see the
informazioni
enemies first, but
attorno.
once you do, you are
Eccolo
highly
là,
more conscious
marchi
of where they are.
attivi i personaggi con le
I will
informazioni,
actually try to
bellissimo.
utilize the playstyle of this character build to its optimum. I will float and fight.
Bellissimo.
In the fight, could please hit. Please hit. No, okay. No, like,
Non ci danno da caduta.
You did see the buff activate
Yeah,
though
yeah.
on the right side from
he
your
went to heal.
passives
I need to engage
while
his
you were
friend.
floating.
Dash sideways. 1, 2, 3, dash away. Fence. Parry. Follow through. Success.
And since you're spec'd, you're on the same tier as them basically. It's
Bella,
just one
bella, bella,
slow
bella questa
blade. If you go
gestione.
against higher tiered enemies, you will have to
Sembra
use
davvero
more
molto carina.
So that's obviously more
Normally,
challenging.
the first
Oi,
players experience a
Hola.
limitation that they are undergated.
Voi là?
Ah, c'è stata sta diretta?
La stiamo guardando ora.
Ah, ma sei live?
Sì, sì, sono in live.
Okay.
And what we saw there was that you were blocking, you weren't parrying.
Stanno facendo vedere anche un bel po' di abilità interessanti.
I guess he exploded.
Aspetta, te la mando,
Forward. Let's see what we encounter. Let's actually reload our equipment.
Capito.
Reload.
Ma io devo trovare la maniera di farmi accedere ora
Go.
a vedere. Speravo che prendendosi
You also
un
see now, of course, that the
account
spice pressing
premium.
particles
It's
slowly
going down. Yeah.
Non lo so.
And as you saw there,
Tu dici per la
Alex was
beta?
preparing before the next encounter. You really
Sì,
should
non
prepare
solo per la
before you
beta,
go
ma
into every
anche in
encounter.
generale, cazzo.
Especially
Ti
if you
spendi
play
90
solo.
euro,
You have to
ti
be
devono
very
far
more careful now if you play solo.
invitare nelle ultime fasi della beta.
Buongiorno.
Voi là, buongiornissimo.
Let's actually throw a seeker.
Guarda che l'altro giorno è cominciato in ritardo.
What you mentioned earlier when we talked about gameplay,
Ah, eri tu, eri tu.
really trying to be
Sì,
able
sono
to,
io, sono io.
Pick his fights,
Quindi,
right? Like
che
trying
che
to
sta
separate
combattendo
enemies,
cos'è?
trying to go for cover, use his ability to,
Eh,
to not have
non ho
to
capito
fight
che archetipo sia. Non lo so.
Long CC effect while dispatching his friend. I'm going to come back now and solve the problem. Okay? Oh no.
And this is the first time we see a heavy in this.
Let's see. Let's switch the disruptor, and we need to use our explosive.
Ah, fammi scrivere al cazzone, vediamo se ci ha giocato alla beta.
A chi? A chi?
Ma un amico mio cazzone che pensava che la closed beta fosse chiusa e non ci ha mai giocato perché non aveva letto la mail.
No.
Ah, gli avevano mandato la chiave?
Sì.
Bello.
And then
Because
Di che la mandi a
This guy
me?
has a minigun, and they are very good at taking down your shield as well.
One of the chat.
Oh,
L'ho scoperto l'altra sera. Infatti mi è toccato dirglielo a me che la chiave era ancora buona. Infatti poi l'ho
One
scaricata.
of the big things
No,
that we
non
that
devi
players
dire
will
queste
experience,
cose.
even though,
Devi
dire,
even
fammela
though
provare.
an individual
Te la dovevi
character is
prendere
not
e poi lo
easy to
usavi tu.
handle, the second you mismanage space or mismanage resources, it becomes very, very tricky. I need to stop speaking and focus. It becomes very,
Tra l'altro
very
sto
tricky
cercando di
to
portarvelo, non so
handle
quanto
the
sia ancora
output
affidabile.
that everything is done, which is why I need
Vabbè,
to try
ma
to
sei
focus these guys
rincoglionito, ti lascialo dov'è.
quickly.
No, non era incoglionito, che è un cazzo di ingegnere, sono un po'
running away
particolare.
great, but like it's really a
It's
tactic.
a smart tactic sometimes.
You
yeah.
should try to get away from it, regroup, and then go back in with a plan.
Da dove la trasmettono
Because
sta
going up
cosa?
against a lot of enemy solo is
Ce l'hai su Twitch o su YouTube?
Right, let's progress.
Tu vuoi l'originale?
Okay, this way. It looks
È il
interesting.
loro
Let's have a look.
YouTube?
Sì, sì.
That appears to be a rain. Ooh, okay, let's check this way. Rotating.
heavy.
Right. So again, we'll compel him away from this problem, and then we'll press the opposite direction. And we'll try to dispatch his turns quickly. And it's not me, it's the hardware. Into melee, blocking. No, I failed. Okay, knee charge. Knee charge successful, push through.
boom.
Abilities allow you
Ma è PvP o...
Yes.
No, è PvE.
no, okay.
Ah, ok.
Pull away, pull away.
Mi sembravano un po' troppo cazzoni.
I
Mi sembra che lui stia facendo-
I
sì.
noticed my stamina, which is why my abilities were not usable. I pulled away to regenerate my stamina, re-heal to be safe. I could probably have succeeded the fight. I just didn't want to choose to risk my resources because everything in Dune costs time, costs investment. Why risk when you can make things a little bit more successful?
Right, and you might even have lost your shield because of
Absolutely.
the minigun.
Push through.
And I'll mention for the beta players that we're doing a big rework
Ma dov'è
of iteration on stamina. So a lot more things will cost.
Non c'è oggi, mi sa.
Stamina won't always regenerate depending
Meglio
on
non
actions that you
saperlo,
do.
Andres.
You won't regenerate stamina as you sprint, for instance. We have a few more fixes coming in for this as well, but
Ma,
it will be a
comunque ho
much more
visto che
valuable and an important aspect
i
of
5 giorni
combat.
prima è solo se prendi le due versioni fighe, se no ce l'hai nel
Oh,
culo.
this is
No,
not on the
this
Sì.
is
Io prenderò
not
quella
bad.
fighissima perché voglio i costumini per me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I 5 giorni solo con le ultime due, con la standard no.
People can enjoy the text on screen while we
Ma
proceed
abbiamo
to
deciso
succeed.
cosa faremo.
That's actually the
Ancora
boss
no.
that is talking.
It's
È molto probabile.
Di sicuro
this area in
gli
Ahila.
Atreides, perché gli Harkonnen sono brutti.
I don't see any contacts. We'll push forward.
È molto probabile che comunque si ripartirà,
Okay.
diciamo, con l'uscita vera e propria e non con, diciamo, con i 5 giorni prima. Però poi bisogna vedere che cosa vogliamo fare ufficialmente. Ancora mi sa che non è stato deciso.
Ma fare due cose diverse? Tanto non penso che sia come Tron and Liberty che abbia gli early access e i server normali. Cioè.
No, è stato detto che chi entra dopo entra nei server di quelli del pre-order. Nel senso,
quindi
possono scegliere i
non ha
server del
senso
pre-order.
fargli perdere 5 giorni.
Sì, però bisogna vedere quante delle nostre persone prenderanno il pre-order e quanti no. E quindi di base quante persone noi perderemo. Perché dai che sono 32 se vogliamo fare una guild, 64 diciamo, per due guild. Dovrebbe essere relativamente semplice mettersi d'accordo.
Tanto puoi farne una o due con quelli del pre-order e l'altra se
Sì.
si fa con...
Anche solo una per il pre-order e una fuori.
Sì, poi dipende da quello che compri. Cioè.
Leaving. Nice. And let us rearm and re-equip. We'll press this button to rearm this gun. We'll press this button that's already reloaded. Scattergun is reloaded. Disruptor ready. Let's rock and roll. Right, I kind of know this layout. We're going to go down the stairs. And further and further. Let's see again. Shall we? Let's use that. And use more. And Spice is the fuel of the Empire. It is a lovely resource. It is expensive, but we are on Arrakis. Therefore, unlike most characters in the universe, we have easy access to it.
And to be fair, we're cheating right now a little bit when it comes to spawning items, spawning the beer.
It's fine. Mostly.
Sì, ma mi sembra tutto
So,
tanto
but
lento.
you will be able to craft
È
spice
tanto lento
beer,
perché
spice
lui
coffee,
è estremamente lento.
and you'll
Se
also
riesci a
sometimes find
concatenare
it
diverse
really
robe, secondo me può diventare divertente.
Now, to
And
do it
again,
this
if you
way,
like getting close to Spice Field, it would also.
Di solito gli spara tutti che ho visto io, sono sempre pieni di mob che ti sparano da tutte le parti.
Allora, di sicuro adesso non ho ben capito, ma sembra essere una zona comunque iniziale. E quindi con mob probabilmente anche con un'abilità bassa.
Esatto.
You'll approach. He'll get stabbed.
Vabbè, abbiamo
E ce ne sono anche
capito,
pochi.
zona di là lì.
Rifle. Scat.
Si farmerà allo start.
Pressing forward and further. Are we alone? We're alone. We continue. I believe we are 2 rooms away from our final destination. Let's see how well we overcome this. We have 1 shooter.
In alto sulla destra c'è anche le informazioni sul
That's another one. Okay.
sul
I
sole.
will try to quickly compel away. What's that problem? Focus on this problem. Explosive floating bomb. Go down. You decided to. Oh, that's a miss. Oh, parry! I'm sorry. I will counter your parry with my.
Nonostante tutto, comunque sembrano essere un po' intelligenti, Cioè, riescono a fare il parring fatto bene, riescono a gestire gli attacchi.
Very much pushing me. This character is actually also, like Vilo was saying beforehand, a little bit pushed to the further end of progression. So I have some things that are helping me. I'm unhydrated. Where is there a water location?
Exactly.
Can I find some water here?
That,
maybe?
to the right there. No, I thought. No, I thought it was.
Let me do a quick rotation around this room to see if there's a water container somewhere in here that I can exploit. Else, I'll have to go another way. Well, we won't have to. We'll just. Yeah, let's. No, sorry. One more. Let's just check this room here up ahead. Maybe. Oof. There we go. We shall drink. Get more stamina.
Ah, si possono trovare anche in giro la roba per bere.
No, okay. 1 is enough. Even without the bonus, it's good not to go too far close to the red. All right, let's continue our experience.
This gives me anxiety to just walk past loot boxes. That is like so.
Sorry, developers.
Gotta open all the boxes.
Developers. Yeah. Let's continue through. Okay, let's check this corridor. Nice. Okay. Right, and I believe we ought to be.
Le ambientazioni sono belle, fra l'altro.
So this is where we come to the blood door. You can pass through, but you cannot exit until you've taken care of all the enemies inside.
Ah, queste sono zone dalla quale tu entri e finché non uccidi tutti quelli che ci sono dentro non puoi uscire.
These are technically Holtzman shields that have been specifically configured for very, very specific purposes to make a gameplay experience better for the player. We shall proceed through. Now,
And if you look back at the door, you can see that you can't actually exit now.
however, your friends can follow through.
Yeah.
And sometimes not friends also follow.
This is true.
And this is where some of the deep desert ecology become very, very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so in this location we have
Ah, c'è questa meccanica anche nel Deep Desert.
3 paths, left, middle, and right, and there is also an underside. I happen to know this because I've reviewed this Ecolab a couple of times, and I
Possono essere cose interessanti.
We will engage with this piece of content doing a clockwise rotation, going left and around. Let's see how well we do. We will try not to aggro too much because, as we saw previously, if I make a mistake, I am punished. We will try to minimize mistakes, and again, crouching to not risk being heard until we absolutely have to. That's a heavy. This is a bad location. I should not have gone this way. I need to use this box to keep cover from the heavy. Let's see how long my shield can hold before I...
Oh,
Madonna.
Okay, please shield, shield, shield. What is he doing? Shield, shield, compel. Run through. We will not fight him because we don't have the resources to. We will engage. No, I missed. Oh, yeah. No, stop, please stop. Okay, stab. Finish, crouch. Get below line of fire. That guy doesn't see us yet. Okay, we have resources. We're gonna go in. This was a marksman that I happen to know is here. He's quite dangerous. If he is not dispatched quickly, they proceed to stack up a lot of poison damage on our players. We will not fight the heavy because that is a dangerous proposition. Instead, continue to rotate around the location to dispatch his friend. Actually, let me see. Maybe it's not so bad. Yeah, let's do that.
Ci sono due.
Let's get rid of this guy before
Ivi.
we get into too much trouble. Compel, advance. No. Stab the body. Stab. No, get away. In charge. No, I don't have any stamina. No.
That's exactly when it comes down to resource management.
I'm too eager right now.
Power
yes.
tools.
Did that push through? No, it didn't. Try again. Dash in. And yes. Great. Follow. Staggered. Push through. There we go.
Ma sto
Even a
tizio tira
combat
bombe e
designer can't
missili a
play
tutti e non gli fa
perfectly
un
every
cazzo.
single time.
È quello che stavo guardando prima. Quelle bombette là fanno davvero poco danno.
I am actually disappointed that my pressing state is depleted yet again. It is not very efficient to not know how many hit points the opposition has.
Well-
However, we will make do.
Normally people won't explain so much as they have the pressure state basically because you lost quite a bit of it
Yes.
there. It does last for quite some time.
Oh Gesù. Ah,
Go back a little bit.
buggato.
See what happens. It's a heavy and a.
And aside from combat like this now, he's in withdrawal, and you start seeing these pink elements showing up every now and then. So after a while, you might start seeing things that aren't there if you trigger pressions too often.
Why is that? Spice can influence your character in all different kinds?
Sono persone magnifiche. Sono persone magnifiche. Ricordiamolo. Come va? Tutto bene? Sono comunque meglio le orche.
Okay.
Ricordiamocelo.
And then let's look around to see. Let's actually reload before we push further. Disruptor, rifle, scat gun, fantastic. Rifle equipped. Let's see what we see.
Gli tocca fare anche il giro di tutte le armi per vedere se sono
We
cariche.
have cleared the left and right, and now we need to have a look at the middle. Yep. Yes, we do.
Tutto bien.
Have we cleared it?
Let's have a floating detonator.
Mucho bien. Noi siamo estremamente tristi che hanno rimandato il gioco Dune di un mese. Mannaggia la miseria.
Push through the shield. Nice. Reload equipment. Reload.
Estremamente tristi.
Oh, hello. No. Wait. I'm not ready. Wait, get your turn. Floating bomb.
Ma dove cazzo la lancia?
I missed hand that. That was too far. Go and reload. Oh, push headshot. Yes, there we go.
Ah.
Great.
Questo continua a tirare bombe e missili, non li prende mai.
Non li prende, poi c'ha davvero una mira pessima. Per carità che gioca su quel tavolino, cioè su quel tavolino piccolino, però. Mamma mia.
Yeah,
Hey, and from this vantage point,
some floating maybe.
we will absolutely succeed float.
That's where your build comes into play.
L'ho preso questo.
Ah,
Bad. No, that's also bad. Please don't.
c'è anche danno da caduta, quindi.
I don't have any. Oh, get away.
That's my experience with this.
Disruptor?
That's my experience with this ecolab as well. It can get out of hand really
Yeah.
quickly if you're not very careful. If you solo this
Where is
one.
it coming? Okay, heal. Where's the heavy? If it's on the corner, I'll rotate right. 1 health pack, 2 health pack. Stay low. Stay low, stay safe. I have stamina. I have resources. Go. Okay, let's go. Daggers to hand. He was right here. There he is. Quantum bomb. Bam.
He's just choosing to ignore you.
One.
Oh, you got
Perché non si è girato? No.
Niente, la prossima volta forse lo
Dagger
prendo.
through. And run away. Give me my cooldowns back. And stamina. Stamina's 1. Compel. Dagger.
Sì, i personaggi sono abbastanza lenti, almeno questi.
I could have been much more aggressive. I could have risked my durability.
Tipo che se l'avesse rasciato correttamente avrebbe fatto pulizia in metà del tempo.
Go. Right. Let's get back upstairs. To there. To there.
Yeah,
we
you see
go.
the door is green there. So
Adesso si è anche aperta la porta che prima era chiusa.
Quindi la mappa non c'è neanche di specie di dungeon. Cazzo.
In che senso?
Not spoil the boss here.
Non c'è.
Even though we heard her.
Ah, no, no, non c'è proprio. Ah, no, no.
Questo è chiuso,
Sì, sì.
nel senso almeno sarà tipo dungeon,
So
diciamo.
that gives
No, non
you
c'è una
the
mappa, no.
opportunity to now from solo gameplay go into group
Quindi
gameplay.
devo ricordarmi
We're
da che
gonna
cazzo di parte
set
vado.
some up behind,
Posto
set
siamo.
up some things behind the
Il
scenes.
gioco adatto ai
We're gonna watch
rincoglioniti.
a quick video first, and then we'll be right back with more gameplay for you to watch.
Vediamo cosa ci offrono. Oh Gesù, che bello. Ah, questo qui era quello del pre-order, che te lo danno nel pre-order.
Certo che anche il computer old style era fatto bene.
Sì. Al posto di rimandare il gioco di un mese, magari potevano non concentrarsi sul fare la radio
And we are
in
back
gioco.
again.
Vabbè.
As we mentioned, we're gonna set up a few more things behind the scenes. The crew will tell me when we're ready to actually go. We all ready? Well, that was fast, was super efficient because we were actually, because we're going to talk a little bit more about the differences between the eCollab that we just went through solo and the eCollab that we're actually going through now in group play. We can still do that, actually, we can explain that a little bit as well because the approach is going to be quite different. Plus, also, we see more group viability or like group gameplay, group like, what's the term I'm looking for?
Coordination,
coordination,
a little
thank
bit
you.
of planning,
Exactly.
well, a little bit more of them planning because these locations are in the deep desert. So you have to have a fair bit of planning and protection because not everyone here is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the deep desert ecolabs, they are in PvP areas, so you run the risk of PvP here, obviously.
Also, we see also the players here, they wear higher tier armor, they have better weapons, they have more abilities as well. Plus, but you're probably going to comment on that later on as well, the approach and the mechanics in this type of ecollapse is kind of different than we just saw in the solo
Yes,
gameplay.
the enemies are much more aggressive, they're much higher tiered enemies. The weaponry and the gadgets and abilities they use against you are more advanced. Also here the blood doors have an additional function where waves will spawn, so not only do you have to clear the room once, you have to clear it, you have to clear all the waves before you can actually continue to the loot. And loot also works a little bit differently in the deep desert compared to PvE areas. PvP loot and PvE loot works differently. So in PvE everybody gets the loot. You can't cheat anyone because
Ah, però aspetta.
to the loot box, exactly.
Mi sa che la mappa non c'è. La minimappa non c'è, ma la mappa c'è di base. Se non erro. Perché era uscita questo tipo di informazione.
Better make sure you have good friends. Like, let's call it, let's say it that way,
Qui
right?
è sempre lo
So,
stesso tipo di
yes.
personaggio di prima o è un altro?
No, questo qua è, cioè questo qui con i capelli blu è sempre lo stesso.
Players are going to advance through the first of the blood doors, exploring the space around them. And
That's,
we will
I
experience...
think Camille playing, so he is actually looting boxes. Thank you. Better for my anxiety.
Let's see what our players encounter. Exploring the space. I love these. These are so different just to seeing desert all of the time. It's lovely.
I do recommend having a shot caller on the team, someone who coordinates, because if everybody just do their own thing, these enemies are not only higher tier, they have more health, they're much more aggressive.
Also, can we talk about friendly fire?
Absolutely.
So you won't do damage to your friends with normal darts, things like that. However, area effects, abilities, and the flamethrower will actually damage your friends. They won't take full damage, but you should be careful.
So everything that kind of does area of effect damage, right, will also kind of damage, do damage to your friends.
So things like poison,
Madonna, non vanno giù.
explosives, flame, when delivered in an AoE, which is also flamethrower, and in a deploy, like you showed me using your assault seeker beforehand.
Pelato.
Ma no, grazie mille comunque, ma no. Sono estremamente felice. E comunque, come dico sempre, sono io che mi taglio i capelli. Ma grazie mille.
Mamma mia, Marcello!
E benvenuto. Benvenuto, mi chiamo Salmone.
They also have different builds, different
Duolingo.
different weapons.
È
Which is
meglio così che cosa ho letto.
Sponsor Duolingo? No, cos'è che hai letto? Cos'è che hai letto?
Invece di mi chiamo era un'altra cosa.
No, mi chiavo Salmone.
While they may not be obvious until you're actually playing these places, these NPCs are significantly stronger, they're faster, they are much more dangerous.
Stempia.
Some people might want to challenge themselves and come here alone. Who knows? It's up to them.
they also retrieve
Diciamo che potrebbe essere estremamente divertente. A me va bene. Tra l'altro io ci ho pensato proprio a farmi completamente pelato. Poi ho detto vabbè. Un giorno lo farò, ma comunque ti offro una cosa.
Ciola.
Un bellissimo buon omaggio vale per un vaffanculo gratis. Hai un vaffanculo gratis.
This is one of my favorite. Like, I can tell that's a Swordmaster build because you saw the green effect, which is basically a passive of the Swordmaster archetype. If you
E che
consider
ce faccio?
the buff for, I think the first level is 50.
Puoi darla a qualcuno per farti mandare a fanculo completamente gratis. È comunque un plus. È comunque un plus, fidati.
It's very distinct, so players can understand what's happening around them. It's good group player focus.
This is very good.
These, especially these
It's
guys, are
almost,
very dangerous.
it's almost as if they're knowing what they're doing.
Ok, vai.
It's wonderful.
Io quello che non ho capito, ma ci sono delle abilità che curano gli altri in parti? A me questo ancora non mi è chiaro.
Secondo me al naso sì.
I think
C'è che qualcosa ci sarà.
I link che hai messo non funzionano.
right now. If I, like that, you can see
In che senso? Quale link?
The paradigm that we have,
Streamlabs.com nonecostanzo show tip.
Ah, non funziona? Potrebbe essere uno vecchio poi.
Dice che non è autorizzato.
both in PvE and PvP,
Poi me lo guardo.
only with, like,
Grazie.
force NPCs to move.
Che questi erano delle robe vecchie.
Clouds of green stuff. It also forces players in PvP to actually make a choice between, do I want to stay here and suffer this small but eventually significant effect, or do I want to reposition and heal? There are many ways to use these, and players are, that's a very close fight.
that was really nice there. They're like almost out of stamina. Like
Nice.
Did we
that was
mention?
really nicely played though.
I don't think we mentioned, but enemies will. Oh, yeah, you saw one. And enemies will
They will
actually.
revive,
They will
yeah.
actually. Sometimes they run away, and you wonder what they're doing. They're doing the same thing the player is doing. They're actually
Yeah.
running away to heal, so
To
that
heal.
they can come back.
And they can of course also revive themselves. They can get out of the down but not out state
Exactly,
as well,
yeah.
like players can.
I love the floating light machine gun, the character build just there that we saw a second
Oh
ago.
yeah.
That's a throwback to the one.
The
that remember what
turrets?
it
Yeah.
says.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
Yeah, I was
see what
about
we
to
do
mention it
next.
earlier because we've seen it a few times now and we haven't actually commented on it,
Yeah.
which is
Here we see it, the turret. Yeah.
yes, which is a mentor ability if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's like actually one of the first mentor abilities. that we played. And now we're in Prescient state again. So
Oof,
the old
that's a lot of
information.
NPCs against. Let's see how well we do. A little bit of panic, a little bit of crossfire. The question is, will our team survive and succeed and receive
Nice.
the rewards?
Depends on the hardware, from what I understand.
Nice one. Oh my god. Okay, brownie points. That was really nice.
Minchia, mancarlo col pompa.
Very good, I enjoy it.
Unscripted joke.
Oh,
Awesome. Not that we have
Enemies,
anything scripted
talents.
here really, but that was really nice.
here we go. 1, 2, ooh. Through the shield. Shield broken, almost broken.
He's gonna.
He's still focusing
Nice.
on. Okay, nice.
That's a flamethrower heavy.
Those
And
things
he's
we've
burning some
seen.
friends.
Also, we've seen a knife earlier, like, and now we actually see a sword in action.
One of the big differences that Villa mentioned before is the gameplay stylization. Swords are an area of control weapon. They're a little bit slower than daggers, but daggers allow you to quickly attack and also lunge.
Non so
One of the
se
things that we
fare
really
il
want to focus on for melee play
soldato
styles,
o quello
which is
che
not
va in corpo a
super
corpo, il
evident right
maestro
now, but
d'armi.
soon TM will be, is that they are all distinct.
Eh, aspetta, vediamo quali erano le
Anche se
classi.
andrebbero viste le abilità del Mentat e del Bene Gesserit.
I mean, I gotta say it again, I love melee. I'm like, it's my build. Like, I combine Swordmaster plus Bene Gesserit skills, and I absolutely love it. Plus, I have a sniper rifle. Because I either want to be super far away and kill people really fast, or be in their face. Like, that's kind of a playstyle. I love it too. And it
They were just saw a
works
suspensive blast from the enemy there, which staggered.
Quello che interessava era o il Bane Gesserit o il Paleontologo. Non mi ricordo cosa fa il Metant.
Pianetologo imperiale? Allora, in teoria io non so come li renderanno, ma nella lore dell'ambientazione le Bene Gesserit dovrebbero essere tutte donne, cioè tipo delle sacerdotesse che hanno delle meditazioni super che le permettono di avere super riflessi, super sensi e tipo hanno questa voce che può controllare le persone, danno degli ordini e la gente li segue. Mentre i Mentat sono letteralmente dei computer umani.
Ah, ecco l'obiettivo di?
Diciamo che in un tempo remoto le intelligenze artificiali si erano ribellate all'umanità e quindi era stato deciso di distruggere ogni forma di computer più complesso di un VIC-20 e affidare questo ruolo a della gente addestrata al bisogno, che sono questi computer, vengono chiamati computer umani.
Roberto, è... come si chiama? È Dune Awakening. Ok. Perché secondo me interessava anche il planetologo, tipo meccanico, aveva detto...
E il planetologo non so come lo renderanno in gioco, però il planetologo non è... Cioè
Esattamente,
non è altro che
esattamente.
un tizio che
Adesso arrivo, adesso ti
sovrintende,
spiego.
diciamo, alla supervisione dell'ecosistema planetario.
Ok. Sì, probabilmente l'hanno messo per la gestione dei mezzi, per la gestione di tutto quanto. Deduco. Allora sì, è un nuovo MMO basato sulla lore di Dune, che oggi hanno annunciato uscirà il 10 giugno. Adesso stiamo vedendo ciclicamente ogni tot quando escono tutte le varie informazioni di questo gioco e promette molto molto bene. Adesso su TikTok non funziona, però se mi segui su Twitch !esclamativo Dune e ti riporta al Discord di Dune Italia, se vuoi avere qualche tipo di informazione aggiuntiva. E questa è una live specifica sul combat. E dopo faranno vedere anche tutta la parte di gestione della gilda.
Is going to get messy. There's going to be colors on the screen. There's going to be effects going off. We will see if we can comment as best as we can to what's happening.
There's someone dead there already.
Oh, they took somebody down. That was very fast.
Is it 2 versus 1 now?
Stamina
Or
loss.
is it, yeah, 2 versus 1, yeah. Oh, nice.
Sembra promettere anche molto bene.
Oh, someone went prescient.
Dobbiamo vedere poi nella realtà un po' tutto quanto. A me l'unica cosa che spaventa maggiormente rimane la gestione dei server. Perché è davvero fatto molto bene. Se non è gestito correttamente, rischia di avere un po' di problemi. Stile New World, per chi conosce.
The question is, who is the better player?
Is this an interesting fight?
This is very close.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Oh, it's getting
stamina.
No, yeah. It's 1v1.
Oh.
Oh,
And then we saw the new whirlwind.
Yeah.
Cioè praticamente contro gli NPC,
Oh, I believe
cioè contro nel PvS 1 contro 1 conviene sempre andare melee.
ability to use and a little bit better stamina management. Bank your stamina and deploy it in one big burst.
sì.
Actually, you don't see the stamina on the other player even.
A meno che non sia
Which is
da
actually
distanza.
really- I think that's. Oh,
Oh, so it, boom.
that's close. It almost got one of the players
Sì,
is
anche
sitting
perché
right
anche
here.
lì ora
And he just
andrà a
went,
vedere
throw his
come
head back and his headphones went flying.
come
It's like,
hanno
well done,
reso
well done.
questa trasposizione del gioco,
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
perché sempre da loro
Yeah, make sure you
ogni
have close friends, before if
ogni
you go into
persona
the
ha con
situation.
sé una sorta di campo di forza personale
Sì.
e quindi è fondamentalmente immune ai colpi a distanza. Anzi, mi sembra di ricordare che dall'interazione delle armi laser con gli scudi scaturiscono delle esplosioni devastanti che ricoprono una zona gigantesca, quindi proprio alla gente non gli puoi sparare.
Ah,
La gente va in corpo a corpo con il pugnale o la spada, perché appunto questi sono gli unici in grado di passare
Lo
gli
scudo.
scudi inerziali che hanno le persone, perché più velocemente vai, colpisci, più lo scudo ti rimbalza dietro il colpo.
ok, se gli spari con le armi.
Per cui loro hanno tutta una tecnica che ti descrivono nei romanzi per essere veloci, ma quando arrivi a impattare lo scudo con un pugnale, entrarci piano piano piano.
Ok.
Themselves. You will be able to stream, you will be able to show videos and things from that better weekend. Sometime next month, more concrete information regarding that will, of course, come soon from our side. But before we dive into the next segment, we are just gonna have a little bit of a break and we'll be right back.
Ok, un piccolo break. E poi mi sa che si parla di server e gilde.
Welcome to Arrakis, the most dangerous planet in the universe. Dune Awakening is a multiplayer survival game on a massive scale, where the open, ever-changing world ensures exploration remains a vital activity. Join us as we traverse the breathtaking landscapes and uncover what the sands have hidden. Follow in the footsteps of the native Fremen and learn to overcome the deadly environment. Collect materials to craft a shelter, still suit, and your first vehicle, then venture into the desert. With a scanning module installed, you can scan for resources in smaller areas, or climb the highest peaks to launch a survey probe, revealing large swaths of terrain and important locations like shipwrecks or abandoned Imperial testing stations. Traverse difficult terrain with tools like the Shigawire Claw and Suspensor Belt, and claim powerful tech and gear. Expand your fleet of vehicles and upgrade them with new modules to suit your playstyle. From the cockpit of the iconic Ornithopter, even the most remote expanses of Arrakis are within your reach. In the deep desert, massive Coriolis storms regularly sweep across the land with monstrous power, changing the entire map every week. As new resources and secrets are revealed, the race to survey the vast new landscape begins anew. Be the first to mark the location of precious resources, and give the map to your allies, or sell it to other players on the exchange. Here, there are no paths to tread, only power to claim. This is infinite exploration. This is Arrakis.
Bello.
All right, and we are back. We know that, of course, we're following comments and things that we see on the internet, on our social channels, and we know that some of you have been concerned regarding Head Start and how our servers actually work. What the hell was that? Stop it. This guy. It's the worst. No, anyway. So we, of course, have heard your concerns. Thank you. So we know which troublemaker is actually sitting on the side here. I'll introduce him soon enough, don't worry. But anyway, we're going to talk about server structure and also social play, like, because some of you were concerned if someone starts Head Start and you start later, can you still play with your friends? How is that going to work for groups and guilds and all those things? And we're actually going to talk about this. And here to talk about that is this troublemaker, Joel.
My name is Chris. No.
Oh my God. Save me, please. No. The game director, you know him, you love him, maybe you hate him, I don't know. No, we'll love him.
I'm sure it'll be both.
Despite everything.
Equal elements of both. Like
Abbiamo il Chief Creative Officer.
Anyway, just to chat.
Sure, my name is Chris Knife. I'm the creative director on Dune Awakening. And I'm joined here by luscious Leo.
Yeah.
And Leo, you are?
I'm Leo. I'm
Laid back
game
Leo.
designer on Dune Awakening. And yeah, as that, I am manager of the design team here in Oslo, and I also work with building systems and the social systems.
Indeed.
Right.
And this is going to be one of those sections you all love where we talk and we don't show gameplay for a few seconds.
That's true. We have assets though. We have videos and little
there's
cool videos
there's
visual assets.
Very cool infographic that someone made.
Which we're having on the screen any second now, because we talk about server structure. That is not the one. That is the right one. Perfect.
Well
there we
done.
go. Again, it's a live stream. Well, with a live stream, maybe without some hiccups.
Right.
Anyway, please, Joel, talk to us about server structure, servers, worlds, all the good stuff.
All right, cool. I will talk to you about this, Natasha. So Dune Awakening has a very unique, somewhat different server structure to the type of games you'd expect. If you're a survival player, you're probably used to one map, one server. But Dune Awakening has kind of a larger server structure on the back end. So we have what we call worlds. Worlds are made up of multiple servers, which we call internally sietches. So often when you join a sietch, you'll see here in this infographic that Hager Basin has this big stack of sietches. So when you sign up, you'll choose your world and then you'll join a sietch within that world. Each of those Hager Basin sietches contains maximum 40 players per map, but all of those maps add up to create the entire world. The Deep Desert, the social hubs like Harko Village and Arakeen, they are actually shared social spaces in the world. The Deep Desert being the big PvP area in the world. And of course, like, so we're talking about, like, we have this 5-day head start. I know people are concerned. The thing is, you'll be able to join worlds that we open during that head start. We will also open more worlds when the game launches, but you can also join a sietch in a world that isn't necessarily the same sietch as your friend, but you'll be able to go and visit your friend. You'll be able to do a lot of stuff with your friends. So it's kind of, you're not going to be locked out for the most part of any content when you join after the head start. Also, I would say get better friends and let them buy you the head start. That's another thing I think is a really good option.
That's the way to go.
No, you also said 40 players per max per server or sietch. What happens if someone joins anyway? If there's like
if more than 40 people try to join at one time, so it's concurrent.
Ricordiamo che
And that means that, like, then they'll be put into a queue.
Ci sarà questo server, questo enorme server nella quale all'interno ci saranno diversi world, diverse sezioni, dove appunto per esempio nell'Haga Basin ci potranno essere massimo 40 player.
You just mentioned it, visiting. So you don't actually have to be on the same, or you don't have to start necessarily in the same server. There are some caveats to it, but let's talk a little bit more about that. How does visiting a friend on another server work?
Well, the first and most important step is to get a friend. This is often achieved by going to a cafe or a movie theater and just striking up a conversation with a random stranger. Then once you have a friend, and they are also into Dune Awakening, which is also a big moment. Oh, my mic. Sorry. I have tech support here because my mic sucks. Was I talking too loudly?
And also, it'd be good to have the visiting friends. We actually have a little video or an asset that shows that too, how you can actually visit a friend. or
We're
another.
talking about how to make friends first.
Sorry, well, we can talk
He-
about make friends.
he's-
How do you make friends?
He's enabled sexy mode now. So
Like
now I first of all, how I
Perfect.
make friends is
Ah,
I
guarda qua la
voice.
friend
Now
list
we have
con
it
le
there.
varie
So,
tipologie.
Made friends, and you can see friends automatically because they're added from your Steam list as well. So if you have them as a friend on Steam,
Ti fa
they will
ti fa
show up in your
teletrasportare
friends list in
direttamente
the game
nella
automatically.
basin.
Then you go to the friends page. You simply click them and say, I want to visit this friend. It will teleport you to the nearest trade post to that friend because obviously teleporting directly to them would be exploitable in infinite amounts of ways. Once you're there, you can join up with your friend, do everything on that siege with them, except for one specific thing, and that is build. You can't claim land. You can build on their base. You can be given ownership of their base and be able to build all the parts of their base, but you don't own the specific land claim. And that's just for database reasons. We need to make sure that we control how many people build in different locations. And then, of course, when you want to go home, you just push escape and choose return to home dimension, and it will take you back.
Right, and you can also do contracts and journey steps, like with your friends that way as well. That will kind of carry over when you go back to your home world. as
Yeah,
well.
all of the
Or home
content in
server,
the game
sorry.
is accessible with this visiting feature, so you can basically do everything. Everything that you could do in a group, you can do, on someone else's world. You can do it in your own world. So there is this cross-play feature for everyone. You'll be able to, work together. So I think people are concerned about like, oh, I won't be able to meet my friends who started, but this shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to play with people, even if you're not in the same exact siege when you start playing.
Right. So we have talked about playing with your friends. Obviously, you can play solo, but then there's the usual things that you have in games: groups, guilds. Maybe Leo can talk a little bit about what kind of options are there to play with your friends besides visiting like their server.
Yeah, so let's start with groups. So we saw that a bit earlier in the previous segments, right, with group combat. So groups are temporary social structures of up to 4 people. And they come with some benefits like seeing your group member status on the HUD. You see them as markers on the map.
Groups with benefits, huh?
Yeah.
Groups.
Exactly.
Love those. Love those.
The best
Convenient, right? So, and then you have standard features like chat connected to that as well. And yeah, makes it more convenient to game with your friends.
Wow, Leo, could you go deeper into chat?
Deeper into chat, yes. So this is a groundbreaking feature that we've developed, right? Never seen before in online games.
I think more importantly, a more important question, but thank you, Joel.
Sorry.
Like, how many people can be in a group?
Oh, 4.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So the party
Including
leader
the
plus
leader.
3 additional ones, right?
Yeah,
Yes. Compared to guilds.
So guilds are more of long-term social structures, right? So you can be up to 32 players in a guild, and they're structured with hierarchies where you have one leader, any number of officers to help manage the guild, and then a roster of members as well. And guilds, they of course also have this groundbreaking chat feature like that we have.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And
Bellina questa gestione.
and both parties or groups and the guilds, they are across the world, right? So if you meet some people in the deep desert and you want to game together, you can do that. It doesn't matter if you're on different servers, still works fine. And yeah, something else you can also do with the guilds is that once you progress through individual faction alignment far enough, you can actually align your
Ah, è vero,
character to,
bisogna essere di una sola
specific
fazione.
faction and
Cioè tutti i membri della stessa gilda devono essere della stessa fazione. Questa è un'altra cosa importante da sapere.
Major houses. So either
Now, Leo,
Yeah.
you like to be an Atreides, but I like to be a Harkonnen. And
For
if we're,
sure.
if we're in a guild together, and you pledge allegiance to the Atreides Lord, what's going to happen to me?
you're gonna get booted right out of it.
You can make a guild with me. I'm Harkonnen too, so it's fine.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hardcore
let's just-
Harkonnen. We have to shave our
let's go
heads, but we're
Harkonnen.
good.
Yeah,
We're good.
Yeah.
Totally
Don't
fine.
allow mixed guilds.
totally okay. No mixed skills.
No house mixing in this game.
Yeah.
We talked about chat. When you talk about chat, you mean actually text chat. However, we do actually have proximity chat as
We
well.
do have
Like,
proximity voice chat as
proximity
well.
voice chat.
C'è sempre
Some
la
feature of,
voice proximity.
survival games.
Off by default, so that you don't have to be annoyed by that person running past swearing.
But what is it? Anyway,
You
I
can
think
turn
it's
it on.
fun. I think, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
voice proximity is
chat
fun. You just,
It's
you know,
super fun.
we got to protect the people's ears.
I know. No, I mean, it's good that you can choose. Some
Yeah,
people don't
you can
like
choose.
it, some people enjoy it. so you can choose. But what we also see there is edit permission. So when we talk about guilds, we do actually have a whole permission system in the game for a whole lot of things, right? Like
access libre, quindi si possono far usare gli oggetti in base a dei permessi.
We have that as well. And we have a longer term persistence than most survival games. So we needed some robust way of sharing access to certain type of assets in the game, right? Like bases, but also vehicles. So here we also have this hierarchical type of system similar to what we have in guilds. So here you can see on screen now for vehicles, for example, where you can add your friends to a list, which gives them some type of access depending on what you want to promote.
Immagino che i co-owner possono andare a modificare le impostazioni, bla bla, gli associati sono le persone normali, poi puoi mettere le impostazioni di utilizzo su tutta la gilda e poi immagino per tutti.
So, for example, for removing the subfief console here that you see, you require owner level permission, so only the owner of the subfief can do that.
So make sure you
don't want anyone else doing that.
No, you make sure you give the right permissions to, again, the friends that you can actually trust.
Yeah, you want to be careful. And then we also have this additional level that you can control the specific access level required for each object in your base. So take a door, for example. If you want to set that to only be accessible by you as an owner, you can do that. If you want to set it to be accessible by co-owners or associates, you can do that. But then we also have two additional
Bella, questa roba qui è interessante. Per almeno ci può essere una gestione più o meno corretta di tutti gli oggetti che ci sono. I veicoli.
We actually have seen that in the beta. We have like several beta players who just build bases and then open it up to everyone.
Curioso di sapere se però c'è tutta, ci possano essere anche gli accessi per tutti. Dubito, non lo so.
Yes, I mean that's the other thing. Like, right? Yeah, like depending on.
Could you walk us through how the permission system works for the erotic role-playing crowd?
Okay,
yeah, that's another stream, I think.
Okay, let's get into like, so when we go into all this level of control that you have over permissions, and it can be a little bit like intimidating almost if you go intimidating you know what is it now?
Yeah.
Anyway, you're intimidating. I get it. You scare me.
I'm intimidated.
Shoulders down.
So it can be a little bit intimidating because it feels like a lot of work, but there's actually a more streamlined option that you can do as well, and it makes it a bit more easier to set all these permissions.
Yeah, so we have a lot of assets tied to Joel's scenario here that he painted, and you want to give.
Tied.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to give access to a lot of bases and vehicles used for his scenario, then you can open the profile for a friend, for example, that you want to give access to a lot of assets. And it's a simple list where you can click, okay, I want to give this person access to that base, that base, that base, and these 3 vehicles, and it's done from a distance. So it's very convenient to set up.
Absolutely. Cool. I think this is actually. Oh no, we have actually one last thing. We have a little overview visual that shows where in the world we have our
a server farm.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
All right.
There we go.
So, I mean, this is where we're going to have servers at launch across the world, so people can see. I mean, the one in Australia, it's actually kind of on the East Coast because it's closer to Sydney. And I see that the Australian name is in the wrong place, but that's okay.
It's fine. We're only talking. We're only talking
in the
top
Northern
level.
Hemisphere gives a shit about my country.
We're not talking about the actual locations right now.
But
We're just talking about high level.
We will have servers in all of these countries and locations, so people will have the best possible ping. I think the most screwed people are in South Africa, but we also believe that because they don't know where they parked their car because they're South African and they speak Afrikaans. They can connect quickly to South America. It's fine. It's fine. That's usually the best ping for them.
Perfect. Okay, but you'll see we'll have tons of options for you to choose from to make sure you have a competitive ping at least, especially also for PvP, of course, very important since we have quite a lot of people interested in PvP as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for the actual segments. Joel, thank you so much for your
Si passa al
contribution to
Q&A,
the
la
stream.
parte più
We
bella,
always appreciate
la
it.
parte
It
più
was
interessante.
a pleasure to be here.
I'll
today.
be talking to HR tomorrow, but no, it's all good. It's all fine. Again, it's like my 10th complaint. No, also Leo, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
your time
and,
as well.
thank
Actually,
you.
we will see you again shortly,
Yep.
because after a quick break, we actually go into our Q&A. Leo will be back. Joel will unfortunately not be here for the Q&A. We will have it on the stream again.
Yeah,
Don't
and
worry about it.
to the
Once he
audience,
calmed a little bit down from his caffeine overdose. I
Hey,
don't know.
to the audience, I hope you enjoyed the dry humor. That's how we roll on Arrakis, you
The
know.
vibing, the dry
I was,
humor on
I was
Arrakis.
just super keen to do this live stream today.
Oh dear God. Okay, yeah, let's just go with the video. Beautiful Arrakis.
I love
Yeah.
the highliner, by the way.
Arrakis is beautiful when sun is low. Le ambientazioni sono belline. Sì. E tanta roba. E tanta roba. Ci sono un sacco di dettagli. Un sacco di robe che non lo so. Estremamente curioso, eh. Bello. Davvero carino. Mi urta un po' che l'abbiano davvero rimandato di un mese, perché comunque c'è da giocare.
Welcome back, everyone. We are still preparing a few things behind the scenes for our Q&A, but I have now Viljar and Leo back to answer your questions. Before we do that, again, for those of you who have joined us a bit later, you might have heard about the fact that we have been moving the release date of Dune Awakening 3 weeks back to the 10th of June, with a head start starting on the 5th of June, which is not cause for any concern. It's really just because we want to add some more polish to some of the things in the game, and it gives that opportunity. Additionally, we also will have the opportunity to do a large-scale beta. So many of you will have the chance to actually try out the game for themselves. That won't be under an NDA, so we will be able to show, you'll be able to stream, you'll be able to do videos
Ma tra l'altro
all that good
dal
stuff.
25
But
aprile dovrebbero
actually,
uscire
I have a question
informazioni
for you
nuove
too. Like, what is
da
your
parte di
favorite
creator e
thing
da
in the
parte
game
di
to do when you actually play? When you look at it as a
del
player,
gioco in
like,
generale, ecco.
like turn off your developer brain. Is that working? Does that actually work? Can you do that and play the game? And if you do that, what is your favorite thing to do?
So for me, I love the fact that the game is so much more than one thing. It's not just a game about combat. It's like we have all these different elements. You have the way that we harvest both just water and resources, things like that. Then you can mix it up and go do an ecolab like we just saw. And then I really like how things come together. You might be driving away from a sandworm and then suddenly there's a sandstorm on the way. You drive past an enemy camp and they start shooting at you. Suddenly you run out and you try to take care of them. You get hit by heat stroke, and then it's like, okay, the sandstorm was upon me. I have to find shelter, but I also have to take out these enemies. Like, I like fast games where you have a lot of second-to-second decisions to make, and I think that our game beautifully supports that.
What about you, Leo?
Yeah, so I actually started a new playthrough last week, playing quite a bit, and what I'm really enjoying now is setting up my base production facilities and the related mining activities that come from that. So, especially the vehicle mining, I'm having a good time with that, going around in my buggy.
In sostanza gli hanno chiesto quali sono le cose che di più gli piacciono in questo gioco per Vil, un po' tutto quanto, tutto l'ecosistema che c'è attorno, mentre c'è per Leo il mining attraverso i veicoli.
We have both the combat aspect that is very like, nerve-wracking, can be like get your pulse up, and then we have the mining who can be actually very zen with like following those lines and things, and I really like that kind of juxtaposition of things as well.
Yeah, we actually spent a lot of time and effort trying to make the harvesting, the cutter rate, to make it work and be, like you said, like sand-like and everything like that. And although there is some progression on the patterns that you harvest from, but it still needs to be sand-like, because the thing is, hopefully you'll be playing this game for thousands of hours, and having something that is that intense all the time, I just didn't think that would be right for the game.
No, it's exhausting,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have combat if you want that experience, but then if you want to relax a little bit and just chill, you can, as you say, go with your buggy and harvest.
Yeah, so what's going on right now is that I'm looking, okay, what's the next tech that I want to get to, right? Okay, what do I need for that? I need this thing, this thing, this thing. I have these already, right? I went out to some expeditions earlier, but these two things are new. I wonder where I'm going to get those. Okay, so I hop in my buggy and I drive out and I hunt for resources.
Yeah.
And it turns into an adventure.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit too adventurous. I lost my bike yesterday, but
oh yeah, I know that feeling. I think everyone goes through that at least once. So like it's just kind of part of the experience, the Dune Awakening experience.
I got my lesson.
But I think we're actually ready for the questions. Another thing I just wanted to mention before we go into questions is like what I really love is the weird things that can happen. Like we saw that, like actually you posted that, I think, where you were driving through the desert. You were looking for the worm, and there was like a crash, like one of the dynamic ships that can crash and like crash down onto the surface, crashed like literally like 2 meters next to you, and you had no idea that was coming down. That was just like it's moments like this that I find incredibly engaging and fun, like these type of things that can happen. Anyway, so we are ready for some questions.
Vai.
We have the first question from Orangeshire. Can the player select which siege they got to connect to as their home dimension, or it's randomly assigned?
Yeah, so you get to choose your worlds, and in that world.
No, ma non farlo vedere come l'altra volta a schermo. Sono domande preparate.
To do it in any order, and you don't, and it's not randomly assigned.
Right, and you can talk to your friends again, like to make sure they're on the same siege for that,
yeah,
or
at
least in the same world as well, because then you can still visit and all that.
Yeah, you want to align on that before you start, so you pick the right one.
Yes, for sure, absolutely. I'm gonna butcher these usernames again. I apologize beforehand if I do. CF Olsen. If you already align to one house, can you later change it to align with the same house as the guild is? So basically, if you can change, right? If your guild is another alignment.
Yeah, you can. You can betray your house.
But only once.
Once. They won't take that lightly, so you better think about this really carefully. Like,
Yeah.
or any first.
Yeah, it's frowned upon.
Yep, they don't like that very much. P-Dragon76 asks, can you progress far without PvP, or is this game mainly going to be around PvP?
So you can play in the survival area, the survival game map that we have, which is 8 by 8 kilometers, and you don't have to PvP at all in that. Now going to the deep desert, you don't have to PvP. It's just that you run the risk of PvP. And as what I talked about earlier is that we have all these tools where you can quickly get away. So the goal was that people who don't want to PvP may still go there for the loot, but be on the lookout for enemies coming, and then just drive away really fast, or you using your ornithopter as you would to get away, or if you get jumped, use your abilities to get away. So we didn't want to have people be ganked very early on, and we thought that, well, at this point you played the game for 100 hours, so you probably know your way around the disruptor, right? So when you get there, people who will PvP you, but they will actually meet people who know how to play the game. So that was the goal. Now, not everyone is going to love that, but like PvP, but you can then run away, as I said. You don't have to engage with them to get.
Lui sta dicendo, quindi quando entri nella zona del PvP, cioè nella zona del Deep Desert, tu sarai bersato dal PvP sempre, sarà poi a te l'obiettivo di fuggire, di andare a rifugiarti, tenendo in considerazione che l'obiettivo che vogliono è che tu incontri la parte del PvP dentro la mappa, cioè magari non incontri nemmeno nessuno.
Yeah, definitely. You can play the game for hundreds, thousands of hours without engaging in PvP easily.
Oh my God! Now I'm outing myself as an old woman. Unpaid taxi, is that the name? That is the name. That's fantastic. Love it. Unpaid taxi asks, is the slow blade automatic?
So we have two main attacks for the blade, like the basic ones, if you don't have any skills or abilities associated with it. So we have the quick attack, and then we call it the stab, even though it's with swords and everything you can do the slow blade there. So you can do the quick attack, which is effective to stagger enemies, so you get time to actually deliver the slow blade. Now, if you use the slow blade on an unshielded enemy, you will have a quick in, and then I'm going to lose the thread here. It works differently. So basically, the slow blade is automatic in the sense that it will trigger if you do a stab, so to speak. I guess
basically it's a special. You do it as a special attack, so it's a special like you hold your mouse button basically longer. You just click it, so it is a special trigger, and then the animation will play itself out. But it doesn't automatically happen. You have to trigger it actively.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you look for opportunity, right? And there, I can get the timing in right. Okay, now I hold, and now I get the slow blade.
Yeah, and also it takes quite a long time to actually execute a slow blade, because it's called slow blade. So you have to make sure your enemy is either staggered or they do something that they don't immediately can retaliate, right? So I think that's also.
I think I can explain what I tried to say earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you go against an unshielded enemy, you will hold for a bit, so it will be akin to a heavy attack, and then you'll do it fast. Whereas with the slow blade, you go fast in, and then the slow is on when you actually connect through the shield.
So yes, actually that's correct.
Quello che era stato detto, quello che è stato detto prima.
Plus the slow blade, and those happen differently, like if you're up against a shield.
Dalla parte della lore, degli attacchi veloci e poi comunque che entrano estremamente veloci, che entrano estremamente lenti.
Someone has a shield or not.
Yeah. I really need glasses, I think, or better, Sorvina Savage, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
Sorvina Savage. I also, to my defense, I'm actually also sitting further away than Leo, for example, has like a really nice angle to the questions. But
I'm cheating a bit over here.
Do you lose durability on melee weapons? Do you lose more durability on melee weapons than range to offset ammunition use of ranged weapons? That's a good question.
That's a very extremely detailed. I don't have the answer for that. And as we balance things, that might go up and down. I don't have the exact numbers.
The
for that.
numbers.
And I don't think it's a major concern, at least the difference, right?
No.
Practical
Ammo
gameplay.
is fairly cheap, so you will loot some of
true.
it, and the rest you will just pull out your cut array, harvest a couple of scrap metal piles, and then you have plenty so that you can quickly craft them on your person. So
Ci hanno detto che dovremmo trovare
It's not actually resources,
munizioni
it's very
a go-go
important
e in
compared
caso
to, like,
trovare
stamina,
eventuali
ability cooldowns and other things,
materiali
right?
per farli.
In the context of things. Black Lion Apps is asking, can I swap active skills during combat?
No.
So you can swap your skills. However, if they're on a cooldown, you'll not be allowed to swap them.
Okay.
Bisogna solo aspettare che finisca il cooldown, va bene?
Tyler, that's easy for once. Tyler's asking, can you learn all skills available in the game? So Master Trooper, so on.
You cannot actually. You can go pretty far down in several of them, or you can go to the end of a few of them, but you won't be able to get all the skills from all the trees.
Yeah, we actually had that at one point that we were able to get everything, but then we made it much more interesting also with the I call them cornerstones, but the capstone skills. Yeah, so you actually will have to make decisions in terms of where do you spend your points. I personally really like that. I think it's more interesting as well. That's Serena Savage again. Will NPCs pick targets based on threats, closest player, or use tactics?
Again, that's also quite specific. I wish Alex was here. So they're like with these things, there's always a combination, and you weight things. So it's like, well, someone might have a higher threat at a longer distance. Who do you deal with? So we have weighted this, so it's like it should feel natural, the way that it works. But again, I don't have the exact numbers for how that's balanced.
The thing is, I actually asked Alex that question, I think yesterday during one of our chats as well, and he said what you just said too, though. Like, the NPCs are actually taking several aspects into consideration. How far is that player away? How much damage? How big of a threat is that character? Like, what kind of abilities did they use previously and all that? So there's quite of a complex mechanic behind how NPCs will react to you.
They do have tactics, so they change how they play depending on if there's one of them, obviously, and if there's more of them, and depending on difficulty, we'll scale it so that the second NPC might.
Ci possono essere diversi gradi di difficoltà e possono anche usare delle tattiche.
Armored Scooter. Armored Scooter is asking, will soda cars be killable, or are they meant to be the ultimate enemy?
So we have the Sardaukar dropships, but Chom mercenaries drop from them. So you will kill them, but they are not proper Sardaukar.
Okay.
You're just not important enough early on, specifically, that they would deal with
Si
you.
può uccidere.
They just sent there.
If you kill Sardaukar, that would be part of. It's not the normal approach.
Don't spoil anything.
Yeah, exactly. You won't.
Maybe you'll have to find out.
They're not part of the normal NPC roster, so to speak.
Mac Wolverson asks, are there any hunter seekers in the game to use?
Indeed, they are the last ability in one of the trees.
Yes,
I could tell you which tree, but I'm not going to.
No, we don't do that. But we've actually shown the Hunter Seeker in a few gameplay or in like early videos.
Yeah.
We haven't shown the Hunter Seeker today in the combat sections. Actually, we used other abilities, but it's absolutely.
We used its sibling, the Assault Seeker.
Yes, exactly. The one you saw, the ability that Alex in his solo gameplay was like throwing.
But yes, we do have the Hunter Seeker.
Wonder Drakias is asking, can you extract blood from enemies like they do in the movies?
Yes, you can indeed.
Si può fare, certo. L'abbiamo già visto.
That a lot as you build your base, and you refine blood to actually use as water for things that you craft and also for hydration.
You kind of start with a rusty needle and the bag at the beginning, and then you kind of
all the way.
As you learn more secrets to the desert, you might also learn a few more.
You can even.
Ci sono dei piccoli segreti in merito. Però si può fare, si può fare.
But there are some side effects.
Yeah, it's not super advised, but you can go. You can also, what I personally hate, you can also use Muad'Dibs and drink a little bit.
This is true. You can harvest the Muad'Dibs as well.
You do what
not
you
okay.
have to do.
Not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. Just putting it out there right now.
Next. Puoi attaccare player della stessa
Can you
fazione?
attack players of your same
Della tua
faction?
stessa fazione?
Yes, you can.
Ah, puoi.
So what I think I mentioned earlier is that in a group you won't do damage much to your friends in your group, but the people in your guild who may be attached to a faction, you can damage them when you're in a PvP area.
All right, that was it for today.
Finito? Finito.
Billy or Leo, again, thank you so much for your time and for sitting down with us to chat about Dune Awakening. Super exciting. Thanks for answering questions. Thanks for talking about your segments as well. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for
grazie a
putting
te,
up with our
Natasha.
hiccups
Grazie
here
a
and there.
te.
Will improve over time. Those are our second stream. We'll have more coming up. Also, of course, more opportunities for you to ask questions. You can still pre-order the game. You can wishlist the game on Steam. Follow us on our social channels, Dune Awakening, for all of them. And as always, stay hydrated. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Easy peasy. Va bene. Thanks for watching. E ci siamo, signori. Allora, un bel po' di informazioni. Comunque. Innanzitutto dobbiamo scendere... Ci sono state un bel po' di cose che abbiamo visto, un bel po' di informazioni tra il combat, che non lo so, può essere anche un'ottima, cioè, diciamo, potrebbe avere un buon riscontro, un buon risvolto, anzi. No. Sorry, adesso ci mettiamo qua. Dobbiamo vedere, vi ricordo che è stato, scusate, è stato spostato. Ci sarà un delay di un mese dall'uscita ufficiale, quindi praticamente uscirà il 10 di giugno. Vi ricordo anche che, velocemente, che si può già preacquistare il gioco. Se lo si preacquista con i 2 pacchetti più costosi si avrà accesso al gioco 5 giorni prima. Per tutto il resto vi rimando al Discord Italia di Dune, chi è attualmente su Twitch, !Dune, per accedere al Discord. Noi ci vediamo mercoledì alle ore 15. Io vi ho voluto bene, ringraziamo mi chiamo Salmone, per tutti i bit, Sirio Cop, ringraziamo, come cazzo è? Maracaibo e il mio fantastico alunno che ha un nome estremamente difficile, che ha fatto la sub. Vi auguro una buona serata e fate i bravi. Ci vediamo mercoledì alle 15.